Right, so I've put our bumper back together. I've put the indicators back in, the side lights back in, and fitted them all together. I've also fitted a new top strip, because obviously our strip was completely rusted away. This is the original one and I've just painted it. Obviously, to get this all to mount up on the car, we're probably going to make some brackets from there to the body to basically hold the front bumper on. I'll probably make a decent sized plate on that side, kind of like a plate on there, do the same for the other side so we can mount this bumper to the car. Obviously, we're going to do another test fit. So what we're going to do, we're going to try our bumper on, we're going to try our modified wings, we're going to try our bonnet on, and then we're going to see what we're going to do about the headlight area and the kind of metal kind of plate that sits between the kind of front bar and it kind of goes under the wing. So we're going to see what we can do about that area to allow us to get our pop-ups to basically fit in those gaps. Once we've done that, we then need to start looking at wiring. It shouldn't be too difficult, but obviously the wiring is different. The pop-ups motors are probably going to be the most complicated thing, but the lights should be pretty straightforward. Okay, boom. It's got some water in it. Okay, not the end of the world, boom. Right, that's our crash bar removed. We've now got everything off the car. We're now going to put the car back together with a Mark 1 front end on. Our wings are not finished, but I do want to get them. Semi. Do want to get them semi close to done. Just so we know how far off we are on our wing alignment. Thank God these bonnets weigh nothing. Okay. One, two, three, 4. Okay. Right. Right. The other thing we still don't know is if the bonnet and the wings are too low, but we'll find that out as we press on. So it's going to come up. So on this top edge, we're not doing too badly. The bonnet is actually a little high. We should be able to get that down when we tighten our bolts down. But our gaps are pretty good, to be honest with you. We've actually done a very good job of getting this wing kind of right. I don't know what you can see. Yeah, you can see it on the camera. So at the moment, we're actually in quite a good place. I'm actually quite happy with where we are. Right. This is going to come up. We'll use the original hinge. I'm just going to pop that there for now. We're going to get our Mark 1 front bumper now, and we're going to see how the front bumper sits on the front. and then take it from there and see what we need to do. So realistically, they're going to slide under the wing like so. We just kind of need to work out exactly where this needs to go. Yeah, it's going to be too far in. So the debate is, how do we get this now to sit together? Well, we can get in there so we can actually bolt it through. Right, we're gonna bolt. We're gonna take 4 bolts. We're gonna bolt our wings to our front end to get the alignment right. If you look on this side, it's actually not bad. I just want to get that bolted up together. So we're going to send 2 bolts through, 1 bolt through there, 1 bolt through there, and then same on the other side. And then when we'll see where we're sitting. Okay, so we've managed to tighten our gap to the wing, like so. So we've got this gap here looking nice. The bolt that originally goes in the Mark 1 fender, sorry, in the Mark 1 wing and the Mark 1 front bumper still lines up. So we're going to use the existing hole to join those 2 panels together. We're going to do that on both sides. Once we've done that, we're going to bolt our wing down and we're going to continue with our alignment. Okay, right. I'm happy with the alignment. We've tightened our bonnet up, and our gaps are not too bad on the bonnet. Our bonnet lines up perfectly now with the front end. We haven't tightened the wings up because I didn't really need to demonstrate this yet. However, first couple of things we notice, and I'm going to bring you closer in so you can see. Bring you in closer, right. At the moment, this cross member is in the way. Now, we open up the bonnet, and the next thing you're going to notice is that the actual bonnet holder is in the way as well, because as well as it sitting where that headlight is going to sit, it also bolts up above the other headlight here. So we're gonna have to move this. I actually did take the Mark 1 one when we went and stripped the Mark 1. So I'm debating, can we use the Mark 1 holder and use it somewhere more in the middle section, somewhere down here. Right, leave that there for now. Okay. Next thing we're going to have to do, we are going to make a bracket that bolts onto here and then bolts onto this area here. And we're going to do that for both sides. The one here, we're going to completely bin that off. We're not going to use it. We might even cut this back and cut that off to give us room for our headlight. But the middle section ones we are going to pick up on. So what we'll do, we'll make 2 thin brackets, one that bolts into there with like a bit of a kind of not a 90 degrees, but maybe a 45 degrees bend in it. We'll drill a hole into this panel here. So we'll drill a hole into that panel. I'm probably going to put a riv nut through that panel. Squeeze it, punch it, and then I'll have like a bolting point for this. What I might do now is just put a bit of masking tape on here and mark the panel so we know what we're doing. In regards to this area here, I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. We are probably going to have to cut here and here, but I want to make it so it's reversible. So if you ever want to put a Mark II front end back on the car, you could. So I might make sort of like a plate and then put the riv nuts in one side, the riv nuts in the other side, and then you can remove this whole arm off when you need to, basically. But yeah, we're gonna come back to that. Right, while we're here tonight, I do want to undertake one more item tonight, and that is our side lights and indicators on the Mark 1, right? First time doing this on this car, so first of all we're going to have a little look, see what we're sitting on. Okay, so these are all our bulbs. Okay, what we basically need to figure out is what is what on this front end. Now, indicators are easy because the bulb's orange, but what we're going to do, we're going to turn the lights on the car, and we're going to work out what we've got sitting here. So, electricity on. So, boom. Already, we can see for that one there is our side light. So we know the little black connector here, that's going to be our side light. So that's going to sit in here, right? Our indicator, we can make the assumption that it's the orange one. We're going to check anyway, but you know, we know it's going to be the orange one. And put the hazard lights on, and that's our side light. Sorry, our indicator. So notice our indicator. So we know that and that need to be wired into our cluster at the bottom here. So comparing that and that, they are slightly different, but I'm pretty sure, take this bulb out for a second, they are operating exactly the same way. As for our side light, that is different. It's very obvious that's different because the connector is completely different. However, what we have noticed is that you can disconnect your side light by squeezing there. And pulling off your terminal block, like so. In there we have two connectors. You have a red and a black. Red being your light, black being your ground in there. Unplug that back in. So what we've established straight off the bat is that I'm pretty sure, and we're going to take this out and double check. So we bought two of these because we need two sides. On the Mark 1, this is one piece. Your lights, your side light, your side light and your indicator share the grounds. So the ground splices in together, and then you're left with a connector like that. Now, we're now going to check this and see how comfortable we are. So we're going to thread this through because I want to check something real quick. What we will most likely do is peel back our covering slightly here, and we will just splice into our wiring. So we'll separate our loom. We'll cut. We're going to pull this back a bit, and we're going to put connectors on it now. On the Mark II, they do not share a ground. we're now going to start looking at wiring. Okay, so from my research online, the MB comes in two forms. It comes in a Mark II and a Mark 2.5. Now this is a 2.5, right? Now, the wiring, from what I can work out, is slightly different on the 2.5 to the 2. To what extent, I'm not actually sure, but I think from what I can understand, they share a ground. So somewhere these circuits are joined, similar to how on the Mark 1, the lights both have a ground wire, but it splits back and it joins into one, and then it goes to its connector. So I think on the Mark 2, the original one, it's like that, but someone may be able to confirm, because obviously I'm looking at a 2.5. What we need to do, we're going to cut back our casing slightly back to expose our wiring, and then we're going to get in there and we're going to basically put connectors between our bulbs and our wiring loom. The reason we want to do that is because I want to make it, as we said at the start, interchangeable, so you could switch back to a Mark II if you wanted to. And we're basically going to put, I'll show you the connectors. So for example, you've got a connector like this, you've got a connector like that. What we're going to do on the loom side, we're going to put these connectors, right? And on the connector side, we're going to put these connectors. What that will allow me to do is basically plug and play, like so, plug and play our looms together. So if we want to disconnect if we want to connect the Mark II loom to the Mark 1 loom, we can do so by basically disconnecting that, like so. What we'll do, we'll put those together like that. You heat them up, and these shrink around the cable to give you a tighter fit. And then what I'll do is I'll wrap electrical wiring tape over this across our wire. Now how we're going to do that, we're going to cut this casing back to start off with, as I said. Once we cut that casing back, we're going to determine where we cut our loom back to. There's a little bracket here that I'm probably... Okay, so our negative terminal is disconnected. Right, we can start cutting into our loom. Okay, so we're going to repeat this step for everything. We're going to cut in the middle of our side light here. So I'm going to take our wire cutters like so, slide those over in the middle, work out where the best case for this is. I'm going to say there, I'm going to go boom, cut through. Again, line that up. Again, boom, cut through. Take our wire strippers, one here, like so, open that up. Again on our wire strippers. And that. Open that up, boom. As you can see, I think you can see, that's both those ends open up. Leave that there. Onto here, do the same thing. Open that up, boom. Open that up, boom. Right, now you're going to twist them. Get them nice and tight, twist them, get them nice and tight, again, twist them. Like so. Now you decide what side you're going to put your connectors on. I'm going to put the female ones on the car itself, so push that through like that. That's gonna sit there, like so. Now these ones you put on, like so. So show you how you do this now. I'm gonna cut this back a little bit. Too long, so I'm gonna cut like so that. Boom. Take that back. female connector goes on, goes through our, goes through our webbing like so. On your pliers, sometimes you're gonna have like where you basically should crush stuff. You basically slide that in there like so. You take it there, and you're gonna just squeeze, firm squeeze, and that will lock your cable in place. That's that like that. Do it on the other side now. As I said to you. So again, take our connector, slide. So we cut that too long again. So we're gonna come in there. Oh, take that off. That slides on like so. Right. Again, and we pop. Boom. It's on there like so. That's our two connectors. Now we take our male ones. And I'm going to show you this once, and then I'm going to skip ahead because I don't want to bore you showing you this multiple times. But this is basically going to be the same process for everything. So the male ones go on like so. This comes down. This goes like that. Boom. Connector gets crimped. Same on this one. Push this in. Like so. Connector gets crimped. Alright. So that's our connectors on there. They now get pushed in there like so. I'm just going to do this for demonstration purposes. Obviously something to mention, right? I'm touching the bulb. Now you shouldn't do that because you're going to wear out the life of your bulbs, but we're going to replace these anyway. So I'm just showing you this for logic. But look, that's all connected up now, right? And I'm going to wrap this in tape as well so you understand what I'm saying about the tape section. So now we're going to reconnect the negative terminal on the battery. Like so. That's on. Now I'm going to turn the lights on. And you can see our side lights now on, right? Now, you can't actually see our side lights on, but our side lights now on, right? And that's our side light connected, right? Now, what comes next? You're going to repeat that for all your bulbs on your car to get your connectors perfectly. I'm going to disconnect the battery again real quick, and then I'm going to show you how to finish this off. Now you can see the reason I like these connectors. So, as I said, they're heated. So what you do, take a lighter. You're just going to do that. And you're going to see that they shrink. Same with this one. Like so. Do this side. I've got fluid in there. There we go. Boom. Right. That's our connectors, right? They're now on there tight. What you're now going to do, you're going to go in there with some electrical tape. So, or I quite like this stuff. This is like a Tessa wiring loom tape. It's like a sort of fabric, but it sticks well to itself really well. And what you're going to do, you're going to start that like that, and you're going to wrap. You're going to wrap your entire loom together like that, right, with this tape. Before you do that, you're going to take some standard electrical tape, right, and you're going to wrap basically your connectors like that, so individually. So you're going to wrap, individual connector wrapped, do the other side, wrap, individual connector wrapped, right? Once that's done, you know that you've done what you need to do, and you've protected that from getting wet or exposed to anything else. For this purpose, I'm going to show you what we're going to do for the Mark 1, because we're going to have to split out the Mark 1 cabling to connect it onto there. So our indicator, our side light are one unit. In a sense, they have their own separate cables. They go back to here, they connect in together, and then on the end, as we discussed, you have your connector block. We are going to cut this away from the connector block. We're going to peel back our cabling and we're going to check, and then we're going to crack on. So block, and then it looks like they've run a tiny bit of solder, and that's how they've split out those. So we're going to cut here just above our metal connector block. I'm going to push that in there. We're going to cut around here. Boom. Gives us that. Come in, and we'll cut far back on the terminal block, even though we don't need to, but we'll cut back anyway here. Boom. That separates that. Again, go in here. We're going to cut there, separate that, go in here, and we'll cut there. Boom. And that's our connector block removed. We're not going to use that. Right, guys, so we've wired our indicator and side light. I haven't tested the indicator yet, so we're going to test it now. Pretty confident I've got it right, but you know, only time will tell. Right, so we've connected our light. Turn our ignition on. That's our side light. So our side light's working. That's our side light for our Mark 1. So we've got that all wired up. That's our indicator for our Mark 1. So we'll test that now. Hopefully we got that right. Right, so it's not working. It might be the bulb. Benefit of the doubt, because the bulbs are old. So let's turn the car off. Try a new bulb, because I'm pretty sure the bulbs are worn out anyway. I did buy new bulbs because I wasn't sure if we were going to end up in this situation. I didn't trust the bulbs that we bought. New bulb. Try again. If it doesn't work now, we haven't wired something up properly. There we go, that's better. So that's working. I'm going to turn the car off and on because I want to make sure it's working when the car's on. Might have just got unlucky. It's working, so it was just a bulb. Turn that back off. So that's one side done for the indicator and side light. I'm going to go around and do the other side off camera, so you won't see that. But we'll pull that over here for now. We're now going to have a little look at the rest of our situation. What we need to now work out is two things we have to work out. We've got to pull our side light and our headlight into sorry, our low beam and high beam into the H4 connector, I believe it's called. So we need to try a bulb in there. My H4 bulbs haven't arrived. I've got some in the old headlights, but we don't actually know if they work. So we're going to test it. And if it doesn't work, we're not going to be able to prove it's worked until I get the new bulbs. But I think looking at the bulbs look okay. So we'll see. What we need to do, we more or less need to work out what is high, what is low, what is our ground. I'm going to use something for now to test this. So what I'm going to use Wago connectors. It's quite a cool little tool. I'm going to show you this now. What Wago connectors are, you use them on house wiring. Sometimes they use them on low voltage stuff, but basically what you do, you pull those connectors up like so. That allows you to put a cable in there. When you click that down, it locks that cable in place. If I put a bunch of cables in here, link them together inside, basically, you can get three pole ones. You can get huge ones up to like 5 pole. They do junction boxes, all sorts. They do double connectors. They do different types. You can buy cheaper ones on the market. When it comes to electrics, I won't lie, just go with the name brand product. They're not cheap, don't get me wrong, but like, it's going to be a hell of a lot more expensive if your car catches fire because you've used cheap connectors. So don't cheap out when it comes to electrics. I would just say buy the best that you can find. I might actually take the cabling from the original. Flip the camera over here for a second. That's our original Mark 1 kind of headlight assembly that I unbolted from the car. I think I'm going to take the original connector if they're in good. They look okay, to be fair. They don't actually look brittle. They're just very dirty where the car was outside. So I'll probably strip that back. I ended up, when I went to get the car, I ended up cutting the loom apart further back because I didn't know how much of the loom I was going to end up using on the car, and the guy was comfortable with me cutting it. I'm probably going to peel this right back and separate this loom and that connector that goes into the headlight bulb. Pull that out. Okay. Yeah, that connector is actually all right, to be fair. You can feel it. Boom. I'm going to get that connector out, strip that out of this headlight bucket. I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to strip that out, strip this cabling back, and then we need to basically look at a wiring diagram to work out what's what. The black is obviously going to be our ground, and we just need to work out from those colors which one is our high, which one is our low beam. I don't know. So I managed to find this diagram online, and on this diagram what you'll notice, it shows you how the MB1 is wired up compared to the MB2. On the MB1, the connectors are split separately to what looks like a H4 connector, what would be great for our Mark 1. However, we are dealing with the MB2 connectors. Looking at this, we can see that we're going to need to split and convert it to an MB1 configuration. Once doing this, we'd be able to connect it up to the Mark 1 headlights. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I will be doing a part 2 to the wiring. And after that, we'll be progressing on with getting our bonnet to click in place by moving the locks. And we'll be trying to set up our pop-up headlights. Thank you.